We already have a video on the Paid Media Pros channel covering all the targeting options you have with Pinterest ads, and you can check out that video right here. But after you have your targeting figured out, you probably want to get in front of those users with ads, right? Of course you do. So in this video, we're going to cover the 6 ad formats you can use within Pinterest ads, as well as the specs for each of those formats to make ad creation a lot easier. By the end of this video, you're going to have a perfect idea of what types of ads you can show in front of users that may have the biggest effect on your target audience as well as your campaign goals. Static ads are the most common ad format within Pinterest ads. And as we keep going within this video, you're going to see why they're the most common and the most used. These Pinterest ads only have one image, and the specs needed for static ads are the same that you would use if you were already creating organic pins. Lucky for you, you get to see my awesome Canva skills. That's the best my design can get, but just work with me here. For static ads, you should use an image that is a 2:3 ratio, and the recommended size from Pinterest is 1000 by 1500 pixels. The file type has to be a JPEG or a PNG, and the max file size is 20 megabytes. Now, the first piece of text that I added to this ad format is the headline, which can be up to 100 characters, but you really have to be careful here. Pinterest has the right to show only the first 40 characters depending on the user's device. What I put into this example was only 31 characters. It's pretty much straight and to the point. As you're creating different pins, you can test out different headlines, and maybe you'll find out that it doesn't really matter if your headline gets shortened or not. But it's definitely something you would want to consider when writing your title, just to make sure the impactful parts are always visible. Next is going to be the description. Descriptions can be up to 500 characters long, and they're not visible when viewed within the home feed or the search feed. No matter what type of pin you're creating, whether it's for organic or for an ad, I still strongly recommend that you add your description and try to use as much of the characters as possible. The main reason you should add the description is because it can help the Pinterest algorithm find the best pins for the right audience. And of course, we need to send our users somewhere. So I just pasted in our main domain right now. Ideally, you're using parameters. So when you are reviewing analytics, you can really assess the performance from your Pinterest ads. After static ads, the next ad format that we have within Pinterest ads would be a video ad format. And this one I'm going to break into 2 subcategories. So first, let me get rid of my image. And now I'm going to upload a video. This is an example of a standard width video ad. For the most part, your pin will stay exactly the same as a static image ad, except for the creative. Standard width video ads need an aspect ratio shorter than 1:2 and taller than 1.91:1. Square videos are the easiest to use here, but the vertical 2:3 ratios are also acceptable. Your file types have to be MP4, M4V, or your MOV file. File size can be up to 2 gigabytes, and your video has to be at least 4 seconds, but you can go as long as 15 minutes. Yes, that's right, 15 minutes, not 15 seconds. So for a video ad, you can really add some long engaging content if you think it's going to fit with your audience. All the text portions of the ad, the title, the description, your URL can stay the same. It's just like the static ad format. Now if I get rid of this one, I'm going to upload a different video file. And as you can see, it's a longer video file. This is a widescreen ratio. So this ad format is technically called max width video ads. It is pretty much the same as your standard width ads except for the video aspect ratio. Here, you can only have a square 1:1 ratio, or you can have the widescreen 16:9 ratio that's being used in this YouTube video right now, as well as what we see on the screen. Your file type, file size, video length, and character counts all remain the same for what we talked about within the standard width video ad format. Another little difference is that we can add a video cover image. And the cover image is there to try to capture the user's attention as best as possible. I'm going to get rid of the video and then switch it back to a static ad. Moving on to the next ad format, I'm going to talk about app install ads. Because pretty much your ad format is going to stay exactly the same as everything else we've talked about so far. You can use a static image or a video ad, but what you do have to change is the URL. Unfortunately, the Paid Media Pros don't have an app, so I just pasted in the link to the Pinterest app on iTunes. But the URL link has to be a valid iTunes or Android App Store URL. You can use static images, or you can even use a video. But if you do use a video, you have to upload the file directly to Pinterest. You can't just paste a link to an embedded YouTube video or an embedded Vimeo video. That will not work. You will have to upload the actual MP4, M4V, or the MOV file. This ad format isn't as common just due to the partners that you'll probably have to work with, So I'm going to switch the URL back to what I had it, and then we can move on to the next ad format, and that is going to be carousel ads. Now, in order to use carousel ads on Pinterest, you have to have a Pinterest business account. You cannot create carousel ads from your personal account. So there's a few ways that we could do this. I already have one static image uploaded. Right under the image, we see the link for Create Carousel, and then I could look at uploading other images. If I click on the first circle, it's going to show me that's the first one in the sequence, then the second, and then the third. Again, I started with one image already within the ad. If you haven't uploaded any images yet, you don't have to click that Create Carousel link that was below where the image would be. You can just highlight your images, click and drag all of them over to the upload section, and then all of them will appear. Now, depending on which order that you highlight and drag them over, they might not be in the right order. So this little icon right in the middle will allow you to reorder your images. If I wanted to, I can click and move them around. Click done if you want to save it. If I don't want this particular image, I could trash it. So there's a few different ways that we could edit our carousel ads. You have to have at least 2 images to make a carousel ad. It makes sense. Otherwise, it would just be a static ad. But the maximum amount of images is 5. The images have to be a PNG or a JPEG with a max file size of 32 megabytes per image. And then just like the static ads, your aspect ratio can be a 1:1 square or the 2:3 ratio that we're using right now. And then once again, the title, description, and your URL parts are all the same. The last difference with a carousel ad, if I scroll down a little bit, it's going to be this little piece of text with the checkbox. And right now we see the checkbox is checked. So currently I am using the same text and URL for each image. If I uncheck it, I can then go image by image and update the title as well as the description. So if you're showcasing specific products, you can change it so you're sending users to those specific product pages. Have a better title for each of the cards. And that's going to be up to you, depending on what your goal of this ad is going to be. I'll check that box again, send me back to the top. For the last 2 ad formats within Pinterest, I'm going to hop into a different account because the setup of these 2 ads is a little bit different. The last 2 ad formats kind of go together because the only way you could use them is if you're running a catalog sales objective within the Pinterest Ads Manager. So there are a few different ways that you could choose your products for the catalog sales objective. There's specific product groups, which we kind of see right here. If you want to almost hand select which products you know people would see potentially within your ad, or you can also use dynamic retargeting. So if users are going to your website, they're looking at specific products, potentially adding those products to the cart but not purchasing, you can get back in front of those users with Pinterest ads to try to encourage that user to eventually convert. So the first ad format for a catalog sales objective is going to be a shopping ad. And unfortunately, I can't show you a full example because I can't show you this client's products. And as you can see with this ad format, it is a single creative ad. So you can only feature one product image or one video at a time. If you want to use a single image, then you can go back to the static ads portion in this video. But if you want to use a video, either the standard width or the max width video formats will also work for this. The second ad format for catalog sales and the last ad format we're going to talk about today are collection ads. When I chose that ad format option, we saw a new section for the ad details that showed up. For a collections ad, you get a larger hero image, and you can kind of see in the example that we selected. This new section requires us to add a hero image, because if we see that little icon next to the collections ad title, there's one larger image with smaller images underneath it. So your images for the hero or your product creatives must be a PNG or a JPEG, and their file size can only be 10 megabytes each. There has to be at least one hero creative. Then, for all the secondary creatives, you can have a range of 3 to 24 creatives. All of the creatives must have the same aspect ratio, so all will have to be either the 1:1 square or they will all have to be the 2:3 ratio. Personal opinion, I would say leave them all as the 1:1 square. And I say this because of what Pinterest recommends. That is because Pinterest will crop your image if it's not close to a 1:1 ratio. So that's why I like to make them square just so I know exactly how they will look. Video and collection ads can only be used for the hero creative. And the specs for the video hero creative are the same specs that we talked about within the standard width video ads portion. You can see there are a variety of different ad formats that we could use within Pinterest. Some are very specific to certain campaign objectives, like catalog sales or app installs, but you can test out a variety of different creatives, whether you want to test out a single image, a variety of images, or possibly a variety of different video formats. Just understand that you have the ability to test out a variety of different pins for your advertising campaigns. Depending on your campaign objective, see what engages users the most, that actually builds awareness for your brand, or potentially what is actually going to drive the most sales. If you want to learn more about each of the Pinterest ad formats and their specs, we have a link to the Pinterest Help Center in the description below. And if you have any questions about Pinterest ads, the formats, the specs, or any recommendations on what types of formats or creatives you've seen work the best, let everyone else know in the comments below.
Thanks for watching our video. If you found it useful, give us a thumbs up below.
We release a new video at least once a week, so if you want to see more from the Paid Media Pros channel, be sure to subscribe.